Alright, so everyone out there tuning in, and yes, here is our complete build of our Nissan Altima. She's a big car for the class, or bigger car I should say, and a lot there to smash up. Runs pretty good, so just to look over, we went first our paint design with a Maplewood Go Tigers, Maplewood being the school district that I'm teaching in. I actually taught here 12 years ago for 2 years, and then I went to another building in the district and I'm back. So school year starts in 2 days, and this is kind of a shout out to all the families as well as the students of Maplewood. Said I really appreciate the students where I was. Sagertown High School, a lot of good kids, a lot of good families, but I'm excited to be back at Maplewood, and that's where our kids go. So that's kind of makes it a lot easier with a lot of stuff with the kids. So here she is. The paint design, just in case it's not clear, was kind of being like a tiger claw, if you will, making like a tiger face or something like that. Like, oh my goodness, I can't do that. And this paint job took long enough, so we went with kind of the tiger claw. We have MHS and MES, which is Maplewood High School and Maplewood Elementary School, on the top. I have my kids' names up top. I have Mr. Lips, which is my name, last name. I'm a school teacher, and then we got Mom on the back with Go Tigers on the side. So that's our idea inside. We did leave, if you watched any of the other videos we made for this car, the cute, nice little steering cover there. The steering wheel's all chipped away, like vehicles seem to do. All three of mine are like that. And other than that, we stripped out the airbags. Again, leave the dash in. We do that all the time now. Just make sure you unhook fully the airbag, and don't need to mess with any of that other plugs and radios and stuff like that. I know a lot of people say the radio typically is what can trip. And then wiring wise, we have everything pulled out of the trunk. Again, I unplug everything behind the motor, don't ever cut anything. Feed it back through the different places. Everything's here. I just looped it a couple times, taped it, and now I've zip tied it. And then these wires here, I left the ground on both sides there because I don't think they're in the way, and just zip tied the wires in so that they're, I actually need to put a zip tie on that one. Do that as soon as I'm done here. Just to kind of secure them. And then here you can see I zip tied to get these off. They were running right against the bottom of the door there, where you take a hit in the side and that could cut. And this right here is running to the fuel cell. So get that off. The driver's door shouldn't be hit. If it is hit, shouldn't be hit too hard. So leave that alone. But otherwise, you can see how I moved the wires all the way up to underneath the passenger airbag. Our Smith's metalwork battery holder, again, is phenomenal. I only put 2 in because of how uneven it is there, but that's all I need. It won't move. Just the bar on top is a safety thing, and some seat cushioning around it, and it is beautiful. Again, that is a marine gel battery. It is expensive, and in my opinion, it's worth every penny. So you don't have to go the gel way, but it had a warranty, so I went with that. Just seat belt and duct tape. The doors there, I think that works great, and it's the great price of free. Comes with the car. Same thing on the trunk here in the back. I've never had an issue. I think they work just as good as 9-iron, to be honest, and it's free, as I said. So there's Mr. Lip's mom. She was complaining she wasn't on the car, so we threw her in the back. There you go, honey, you made the car. The cats are running under the car here. And yeah, so that's her. The sign, shout out to my father-in-law. He helped me. The corner welds broke on it, and he helped me. We cut this metal out, just old metal he had lying around, and then he welded that in there for me, so it's kind of in on each side, so it shouldn't come out. Looks good. I just put a quick coat of paint on it. Looks good. And this wheel does not turn. We hit it with every sledge known to man. I even took the brake caliper completely off. I think when it was parked for over a year and a half, the way it seems, they had the emergency brake on, and the emergency brake just won't release. Like the brake itself is locked, so it's not the, at least I think that's how they work. It seems like they're in the bottom of the brake disc there, the rotor, but couldn't get it to break loose, so we just threw a spare on there. It drags, but not a big deal. And then again, same thing on this side. So that's her stock. Again, just the chain running over there for the safety. And then up front here, again, my battery. Now again, if you watch my videos, shout out to Justin Hoffman. The positive, you'll notice, is completely intact. I've always cut them up to this point. The negative I cut, and then just put my U-bolt and my battery cable in there. Very simple. But the positive, you see that contraption all sorts. It's like a fuse, it's running into this. I said to Justin, I said, man, I don't want to cut this. How do you do it? And he goes, oh, I never cut the positive. I just run the U-bolt through the battery terminal and then bolt it in, tape it good, and you're set. So did that. I will probably do that every derby car from now on. So shout out to Justin. Appreciate him helping me out. A little bit of spray foam, in particular around the wires here. You can see how, again, we pulled the wires up and in. That's an old radiator hose there. Just cut it and wrapped it around and zip tied. A little spray foam around those wires in case it gets pressed up in. And then here are the headlights. I just like to pull them up in and zip tie them. Very simple, very cheap. Same thing over here. Put all that wiring in, zip tied it just to the kind of fuse box thing here. And then I put some spray foam in front of it in case the front end here gets pushed back. Otherwise, still has the stock converter on it there. The smaller one underneath I did. And looping the lines, if you can see here, let me see if I can get the camera to sight in. Right there you'll see the edge of where I have the transmission lines that come out right over here and ran into the bottom of the radiator, and I cut them, looped them, and then I zip tied them so that they were kind of in a stable spot behind, as you'll see there, the motor mount. I didn't want that being in front, because then if I take a shot up front and it gets pressed back in, it might cut right into my training lines, and then I'm bleeding transmission fluid and I'm sitting there with no gears grabbing. So it's far enough away from the muffler, I think, and it's the muffler guards there, so shouldn't be an issue there. And it's kind of secured with just, again, zip ties, black tape, electrical tape, spray foam, and duct tape. That's about all I use on top of the seatbelt. So everything else, again, just the air box there, what was the air box, I guess you'd say, run into the throttle body there. I just put the chicken wire on it, and then the tape's just there to kind of pull a little bit of loose wire so they don't, if they get hit there, don't get pressed into the wiring around it. So that's it. That's her. The rebar cheap bumper up front does not look too sturdy. I'm not sure. You know, some rebars are really tough. The Buick I ran earlier in the summer was awesome. Didn't take a big hit, but it didn't crink or bend at all. I actually unbolted it. Well, this one, you can see how it's bolted right there on the frame rail, and I left it there. You know, try to protect the front, really. Anyways, I mean, she's a derby car stock, so, you know, underneath here is pretty rusted up front. I mean, you take a hard wheel shot, you know, you're likely not only bending, but likely possibly breaking a strut. That's happened to my Buick. I didn't even get hit hard, and I got hit more in the front corner. Kind of picked me up, and it was actually the opposite side that got pressed into a car. Not really hard. Busted the strut, which ripped the CV shaft out, and I was sitting there running, but nothing grabbing. That was how that car finished. Well, I mean, that's these cars, you know, stock. Yeah, the front end hurts, but you got to keep those front wheels clean. That's an easy. They just press into you and it rip that old rusted frame apart, the unibody frame these things have. So, not sure what we got, but hopefully we have some fun. And it's a local fair, Crawford County. It's a nice big grandstand, but that's why I wanted to give the shout out to the Maplewood Tigers. So, we'll see how we do. We're excited.